language strand. How to teach the Common Core language standards with Pennington Publishing's Teaching the Language Strand, grades 4 through 8 program. Training Module 7, Remedial Spelling Patterns Instruction. Teaching the language strand includes all of the resources to meet the diverse instructional needs of individual students. The writers of the Common Core State Standards do recognize the need for both review and remediation, especially in the language strand. The Teaching the Language Strand program has diagnostic grammar and usage, mechanics, and spelling assessments to determine the specific remedial needs of your students. These assessments are administered whole class, and mastery recording matrices allow the teacher to organize instructional materials and to monitor the progress of individual students at a glance. The spelling pattern worksheets are designed to help students master the previous grade-level Common Core language spelling standards. Each worksheet lists the sound spelling pattern focus, example words, a spelling sort, a rhyme or word search activity, word jumbles, a short writing application, and a sentence dictation formative assessment. Students progress at their own rates to master previous grade-level standards. In this training module, teachers will learn how to diagnose and remediate the sound spelling deficits of their individual students to help them catch up while they keep up with grade-level spelling standards. Teachers will also learn a management system to individualize instruction while maintaining a productive and disciplined learning environment. Before beginning instruction, administer the TLS Diagnostic Spelling Assessment. This comprehensive spelling assessment, unlike other random sample qualitative spelling inventories, measures student mastery of the foundational kindergarten through 3rd grade sound spelling patterns. The 64-word spelling test is administered whole class and takes about 25 minutes to complete. Each of the 64 multisyllabic spelling test words corresponds to the spelling patterns worksheets. The teacher, instructional aide, or parent corrects the assessments and charts the individual skills that your students have not yet mastered on the mastery matrices. Record a slash for unmastered skills and leave the box blank for mastered skills. As with the grammar, usage, and mechanics matrices, make 2 copies of the matrices, one for student reference and one for teacher reference. Post one set of the Diagnostic Spelling Assessment Mastery matrices on a wall at the rear of the classroom for student reference. Note that teachers may choose to list students by identification number rather than by name on these matrices. Keep that teacher copy in a binder at your desk. Count and total the slashes for each of the 64 spelling patterns to determine how many of each spelling pattern worksheet you will need to copy. Copy these worksheets and group them in separate file folders. Teachers who have purchased the Teaching the Language Strand program are licensed to place these worksheets on their own class websites so that parents and students can access and print these at home. Find the lowest number spelling pattern with a slash from the TLS Diagnostic Spelling Assessment Mastery Matrix. Pull that group of spelling pattern worksheets from the file folders. Plan to remediate 1 spelling pattern per week, teaching from the lowest to the highest spelling patterns. For most classes, this pace would remediate each of the kindergarten through third grade spelling patterns in 1 year. However, with lower performing individual students, the teacher may need to up the pace to 2 remedial spelling pattern worksheets per week. But start with the 1 worksheet per week pace until you feel comfortable with the instructional procedures. Now ask students who did not master the selected spelling pattern to come up to the board or easel. It may be 3 students, or it may be 15 students. Write the spelling pattern on the board or easel pad exactly as is listed on the spelling pattern worksheet. The spelling pattern is enclosed within quotation marks and may or may not have a blank to indicate a consonant sound. Note that the blank does not necessarily indicate a consonant letter, because there may be consonant digraphs, such as the sh, sh, that fit in the blank. For example, the sh at the start of shut, the sh in the middle of brushes, and the sh at the end of mush. Point to the spelling pattern on the board and say, "This is the as in woodpecker blank U blank spelling pattern." Read the spelling lesson focus. The sound heard in woodpecker can be spelled blank U blank, as in put. Point just under your lower lip to draw attention to your mouth formation and say as in put. Ask your students to repeat the as in put. Remind them that the blanks are filled with consonant sounds, so that the blank U blank spelling pattern means that the U has to be in the middle of a syllable and surrounded with consonant sounds. Refer to the teacher resource page found at the beginning of each group of spelling patterns and pronounce and write each of the 10 sound spelling pattern example words under the written spelling patterns. Use a different color marker for the focus spelling within the example word. If there is a blank, fill in the consonant sound spelling after writing the spelling pattern. After writing each example word, say the word as you point to the focus spelling pattern and have students repeat. If students seem to be catching on to the spelling pattern, there is no need to write all 10 example words. Now distribute the spelling pattern worksheets and quickly review each instructional activity. The format of each worksheet is intentionally similar and will require no teacher assistance after the first worksheet or so. Following are the activities on each worksheet. The focus section. Each worksheet lists the sound spelling patterns with the appropriate spelling marks and blanks and example words. The sort section. Students use pronunciation, analogous spelling patterns, and the spelling marks and blanks to categorize the sound spelling pattern words. The rhyme or search section. Students write rhymes that apply the sound spelling pattern. Or students book search to find similar sounding spelling words using their sustained silent reading book or a class novel. The jumble section. Students unravel word jumbles using the sound spelling pattern as their clue. The write section. Students practice application of the sound spelling pattern in the writing context. After quickly reviewing the instructional procedures, send students back to their seats to complete the spelling pattern worksheet individually. When students have finished, and it may not be the same class day, Ask the group to bring their spelling pattern worksheets and a different color pen or pencil up to the teacher to self-correct and self-edit. Again, the group may be a size of 3 or 15. Review the answers and have students edit their worksheets in the different color pen or pencil. Tell students that you award credit for completion and effort, not correctness. Refer to the teacher resource page found at the beginning of each group of spelling patterns and locate the formative dictations assessment. Direct the students to turn their spelling pattern worksheet over to the back side, or use binder paper, and print the dictation as you read it. Note that each sentence dictation includes some words with the same vowel or consonant sounds, but different spellings, to require students to discriminate and problem solve among spelling choices. Then collect and correct the formative dictation assessment on the spelling pattern worksheets, changing the slash to an X on the TLS Diagnostic Spelling Assessment Mastery Matrix for each student who has mastered the formative assessment. Mastery criteria is determined by the teacher. Most reading specialists recommend the level of 80% correct. Students who fail to master the spelling pattern should move on to the next spelling pattern and repeat that spelling pattern worksheet only after all spelling patterns have been remediated. Finally, here are a few helpful hints to ensure instructional success as you individualize spelling patterns instruction to match the individual needs of your students. After a student has mastered the spelling patterns worksheet, direct him or her to change the slash into an X, in pencil of course, for mastery on the appropriate box on the rear classroom wall spelling matrix. Filling in the X gives students a sense of accomplishment and motivates students to complete additional work and set goals. Don't forget to mark the X in your teacher binder as well. Manage time effectively. Limit the sound spelling introduction and example words practice to no more than 5 minutes, whether the group size is 3 or 15. Also, limit the self-correcting and self-editing review to no more than 5 minutes. Of course, make sure to have the rest of the class quietly engaged in seat activities during these group meetings. After all, spelling acquisition is primarily an auditory skill, and so the classroom environment needs to remain conducive to listening and speaking practice. Have students complete the spelling patterns worksheets during class or for homework on the day that you've introduced the sound spelling and practice the example words. The self-correcting and self-editing review need not take place on that same day. Even though your students will catch on to the instructional procedures quickly, resist the temptation to simply pass out the spelling pattern worksheets without the 5-minute sound spelling introduction and example words practice. Students who have missed sound spelling patterns on the TLS Diagnostic Spelling Assessment need to connect the sounds to the spellings with proper teacher modeling and practice. There simply are no shortcuts to ensuring that your students have remediated all of the sound spelling patterns.